Now, you're listening to Midweek Voices. We're out and about as always, and I'm here with Michael Fortune, folklorist, and we often talk to Michael, and especially at this time of the year. Now, a couple of weeks ago, Michael was telling us about the Irish Dresser 2021 calendar. At that stage, it was only a rough drawing, but I have here beside me the Irish Dresser calendar, and it looks magnificent and splendid, and it's on sale. You could have one and you're hanging on your wall for 2021. And Michael Fortune, you've got this project over the line, and I must say it looks very professional.
Yeah, thanks a million, Dan. When I met you, the idea was I was a seed in my mind back in late September, early October, and I met you, and I think we had a rough printout in our hand. But a lot has happened since then. We went to the first print run in mid-November, and we sold out within a week. We sold out as soon as we got them; they were gone. And we got a second print run, and literally there's a handful left in a couple of shops in Wexford. Literally, I'm talking a handful. You're talking maybe 5 or 6 in a couple of shops. That's all that's left.
Now, they're unique. It's very unusual because all the photographs are people's dressers, and it's a collection of dressers in calendar form.
Yeah, it's an unusual one because I suppose I could see it all along because I'd been working on projects, I suppose, on that particular project for a couple of years between 2015 and 17, photographing dressers in people's homes, the stories behind them, the makers, who made them, and people's personal connections to them. And also in doing so, then you'd build up, you'd start to notice regional styles, you'd start to notice little peculiar things within the vernacular in people's homes. You'd actually start to spot, if you look, it's funny, you'll start to spot actual calendars beside dressers. You'll start to see, blessed palm over religious pictures in people's homes, little objects on the dressers. So they were lovely. They'd always keep you visually intrigued. So the idea of the calendar was, as I said to you before, was the idea that we would have just one per month, and we'd literally skip through the year, and every time we turn it, we get a new story, we get a new visual in our kitchen.
So in some of the photographs of the dressers, you have the remnants of old calendars. Now, years ago, your local shopkeeper would give you a calendar, and the man in the garage would give you a calendar, and the chemist would give you one, and you'd have a lot of calendars. And generally what you did was you had one photograph, and then you peeled off the months one by one. And very often, the picture on the calendar would be all that be remaining.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I suppose this thing, I know I'm not the first to do that idea of a photograph per month, but it's just I suppose there's something the homely, the domestic feel of it which makes it. And also one of the things which is the key to it, which took me longer getting the design and the print done, was I decided I would put in little calendar dates per month. So rather than, I was saying to you before, rather than putting in the bank holiday in Singapore and something down in Australia, I was saying, listen, I'm going to put in little local things here for Ireland, things like when to spread tran water, when to put up the May bush, when to make pancakes, and little bits of information, of little bits of folklore that would be very particular maybe to Wexford or Mayo or whoever was working in. There's a good bit from Wexford, obviously, because being from Wexford. So those dates are important as well. And and again, that's one way for me, I suppose, of generating more conversations around folklore and the dates that are important to us as Irish people living in Ireland.
Yes, I have one here, and there's a picture of Stella Byrne's dresser from Marshallstown, and it's for the month of February, and you say on Candlemas Day, which is the 2nd of February, 4 drops of hot wax dripped for protection.
Yeah, that was a thing for Candlemas Day. Now, it's not that popular, but we found I've come across people who did it here in Wexford. So basically, the candles for Candlemas Day, you'd light them and you'd drop 4 drops of wax in the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, Amen. That was a thing. And people would put them on chainsaws, they'd put them on cookers, they'd put them on the ends of the bed, anywhere at all where you could get a little bit of protection. Even the accounts I've got from Ireland here were the accounts of dripping them on animals and on an animal's back for protection. But when we were in Newfoundland, this is the gas thing in Newfoundland where we were, everyone's house you went into, I noticed these 4 drops of wax everywhere. There was one man had them on his chainsaw, on the end of the bed, on your coat, on the left hand shoulder of your coat, you'd get 4 drops of wax dripped on it. So it obviously went over from here, but kind of faded away here, but survived over there.
The 14th of February says, show some love today.
Well, that's a fairly obvious one. Yeah, show a bit of love on the 14th of February. It's not too hard. I was even, we're stuck for space on a little months. You didn't want to fill up the months, and sure, like even things that were back, things that I didn't include were like, the I think the relics of Saint Valentine are up in Dublin. So.
There's no connection between St. Valentine's Day and the 17th of February. Lent begins. One says, show some love today. That's the Valentine's one. And the other one says, give up something.
You'd have to give up something. It's not hard to give up something at all, whether it's a pint or sweets or something. Yeah, I kind of included those dates, those religious dates, and also some of the dates that are probably older, kind of little calendar dates that would have faded away, like going to Holy Wells or going pick Frockins on Sunday. But yeah, so you're just turning the pages there now, and you'll see there's little bits of information, and that's what's special about it. And all that work done, that's not copy and paste from the internet. That's all my work over the years, 15, 20 years of meeting people, and I'd get a little bit of information and I'd drop it in. Now the gas thing is someone could come along now next year and just copy every single thing I did there, and there's nothing I can do about it, but at least I can stand over that, and I can remember the person who told me that story or where it came from.
Now, I haven't been through this calendar before we did this interview, and I've just turned the pages at random, the 8th month, which is August, and amazingly I find that on the 13th of August, the only Friday the 13th in 2021.
Yeah, that's a funny one. Yeah, and I had a few people proofreading the calendar for me and looking at the dates with me. I was sending them on drafts, and someone said to me, "There's only one Friday the 13th. Will you put it in?" So I put it in. Yeah, so I put that one in. And you're looking at December now. December's packed. And one thing I actually did, Dan, I did things deliberately put in our Irish things, but there's people living in Ireland now who are from Estonia and Poland and Latvia. And I put in dates like St. Nicholas Eve or St. Nicholas Day, which is the 5th and 6th of December. And that's when St. Nicholas will come and leave little sweets and treats for the children for that day. And that's a big day for those families. And I think it's really important for us to mark those families and those people who are living in Ireland too, and include that. And you know what? I think I'm the first person to ever, working in folklore in Ireland, to mark those dates. And that tells you something, doesn't it? The fact that we're still on the ground and still being able to recognise the lives of ordinary people, and I suppose that's important to me anyway. It is.
Well, we just have a shot of one or two more. For May, on the 7th of May, it says, "Married in May and you'll rue the day."
Yeah, that's a great old saying. Got it from Raheen to Adams down to Cranford down to Carrick-on-Bannow. You hear that, "Married in May and you'll ruin the day." Or you never never take the paintbrush in your hand in May. If you whitewash in May, you'll wash all your look away. That's what they said. Yeah.
And for September the 22nd, then, it's the autumn equinox, and you recommend that visit Tulloch na Solas on Owlert Hill.
Absolutely. It's funny, and I get a chance to do things like this, even though it's a national project, to bring in Owlert Hill, because you'll think of Tulloch and Tulloch's out in Owlert Hill. It's the autumn equinox. It's the most amazing space, and to big up the places here in Wexford that we have as well, so that puts them on the map as well. So I deliberately did things like that.
And also I think this is very significant because this year now, as we all know, Christmas is going to be very different because of the COVID, and a lot of the traditions and a lot of the things that we'd normally do at Christmas will be suspended for this year. Whether they come back or not is another day's work, but if they don't, the Irish Dresser 2021 calendar has got all of those little snippets that were so important to our forefathers.
Absolutely, Dan. And from my perspective, we come from a kind of trained in a conceptual art background. That's where our background is, even though we're working in folklore. The idea of reaching your audience, I can't stress it, this is so important. I could produce a book on calendar folklore in Ireland, right? And you know who'd only buy it? The academics and the ones into history, the ones like myself, right? But a little calendar is different. I'm able to get those little bits of information now into circulation, into people's kitchens who would never pick up a book on folklore or never pick up a book on calendar customs, traditions. Don't you know what I mean, don't you? Yeah.
And people used to collect calendars.
They did. Yeah, they did. For the photograph, I've even seen people as well. I did it kind of deliberately to back in my mind as well. When people years ago, you wouldn't be able to go and buy as much. You'd find an old photograph you'd like and you'd stick it in a frame and you'd put it on your wall, So in some ways, the quality of these, you can see yourself, it's a litho print, so the quality is superb. So that's the other thing as well. That actually, if you want to cut up the calendar and put a picture on your wall of a dresser, you can do that too. You've got 12 individual photographs there as well.
The 12 dressers of Christmas.
12 dressers of Christmas. Yeah.
Now, the important thing, Michael Fortune, is I know there's not too many left, but if there's somebody rushing out there and they want a calendar and they only have a couple of days left, can they still get one?
The Book Centre in Wexford have about 8, I think, as far as last time I was talking to them. Easton's in Gorey had a few. Easton's in Enniscorthy had a few. We're talking like one hand down here, Dan, right? And also the trading post in Owlert had literally a couple left. That's all they had. We were literally sold out. I could go for a third print, but it's just getting so close to Christmas with stuff. And it's been a full-on stretch of 8 weeks since I met you first. You were actually the first person that did an interview with me, so I'm really grateful for that. I think you could see how it was going to play out, but it's all really good. It's a great. We're in a great position, and we're delighted for the support, and we're delighted. It was a huge learning curve for us, massive learning curve for us, massive.
So what people are looking for is the Irish Dresser 2021 calendar, and very few left, but you might be lucky if you haven't got your own already. And Michael Fortune, congratulations on the calendar, well done. Thanks for talking to me on this programme. And will you come back next week, Michael, because we're going to do a special Christmas show here on Midweek Voices, and we want to tell people about some of the unusual features of Christmas. So will you come back next week?
Yeah, delighted, Dan. Yeah, can't wait.